I was recently interviewed on Fox Business Channel about the benefits of Americans in particular, but really anyone, going overseas for more freedom and dramatically lower taxes. And before the interview, the producers and I were discussing some questions that they might ask. And one of them was, what are all the benefits for an entrepreneur of going where they're treated best? I'm going to share three that went through my head that I believe a lot of people haven't thought about, but should. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson here at Nomad Capitalist, my team of over 30 people, and our network of global experts that's been a dozen years of curation in the making helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs legally go where you're treated best. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. 3 benefits of going overseas for lower taxes. It's a scary thing for some people because there is an element of the great unknown. I can tell you, doing this for many years, I don't regret it. I don't wish that I had stayed in the United States. I've gotten a lot of benefits, not only in terms of more money, but a lot more freedom, great social opportunities. But here are 3 reasons why I think most entrepreneurs should consider this. And the first one is very simply the culture. You know, the bubble that exists in the Western world where people think that there are no opportunities. There are not only opportunities for business, opportunities to be happy, what have you, outside of their borders, whether it's the US, Canada, what have you. There is a culture that now within those countries, not only is there nowhere else to go, but you should be so thankful that you're here because we're going to tax you more and more. We're going to really be against you, I believe. And I've been a lifelong entrepreneur, and I've seen this more and more over the years that I lived in the US, where being an entrepreneur, being successful is increasingly not a cool thing. But certainly being an entrepreneur is cool these days, but when you hit it big, everyone's gunning for you. And I remember when I was 12 years old, my father initially said, he said, go where you're treated best, because I think he realized the writing was on the wall for the United States back even in the mid-90s when he said that. And now you've got a culture where people make money during a pandemic, and you have half the political class and many people along with them saying that they're basically traitors. Now, I understand as an entrepreneur you're different and not everyone likes you, but at a certain point, it's just too much in some of these countries. And I look and I go all around the world to many other countries, and I see there are places where you are more welcome if you are someone who creates value, creates jobs. The government is not against you. They are welcoming you. In some cases, they roll out the red carpet for you. People mind their business. They let you do what you're doing. They do what they're doing. To me, that's a big benefit because I think it has an impact on an entrepreneur's mood. I think you need to be in the right mood. I think what a lot of people don't understand about high performers is you just have to have the right setting. There's a reason that Sinatra didn't move pianos. There's a reason that J-Lo wants only the white M&Ms. And people can say that's diva-like, but I think when you're operating at a very high level, there's just a certain mood that you want to be in. And if that's white M&Ms, or if that's being away from people who think that you're the Antichrist, I think that, potentially going somewhere where you just feel more in your element is a good thing. Now, number 2, the actual tax benefits themselves, obviously having more money. If you make $1 million a year and you're paying $450,000 somewhere and you can go somewhere else and pay $40,000, that's an extra $410,000. Now, for some people I work with, they run cash cow businesses. That money just goes in their pocket. They give some to charity, they buy a home, they do whatever. They invest in the stock market, cryptocurrency, whatever. For other people that have businesses that require turnover, they're growing their businesses by saying, I can get a 3x return on Facebook ads, or if I buy more product, I can make a higher margin. And so they're putting that extra $400,000 every year, and suddenly a $1 million business becomes very quickly a $2, a $5, a $10 million business that they wouldn't otherwise have. So basically, living in a high-tax country means you're at a competitive disadvantage because there's some guy who went to Malta, who went to Cyprus, who went to Vanuatu or wherever else, the UAE, whatever. And his tax rate is 0, 3, 5, 7. I always love when I see promotional emails from some kind of software company. I scroll to the bottom and you see the address, and the address is in Cyprus or in Hong Kong or in Panama. I said, this is a company that gets it. They realize, especially if you're running a business in the cloud or anything that's not tied to the ground, you can be anywhere. And so why would you be paying 45% of tax while some other guy who's selling your same product is paying 5%? He's going to clean your clock because he's going to reinvest that money into the business. and he's going to beat you. As Kevin O'Leary says, how do I pour boiling oil over the head of my competitors? Well, you pay a lower tax rate so you can have more money. And the third thing is, beyond that, I see people, and I talked to a guy just the other day. I've heard this many times over the years, but I talked to someone recently, and he said, I'm just kind of at my end here in the U.S. When I asked him why he wanted to go overseas, he said, I feel like I've done all I can do here, because I think he was making, I don't know, 2-point-something million. And he says, every dollar I make in addition, I'm paying over 50 cents on the dollar, because he lived in a relatively high-tax state in the U.S. So federal tax, state tax, all the self-employment taxes, he's over 50 cents. He says, I've got a business partner that contributes $0, and they take more than half. Imagine that. And imagine how debilitating that is. Have you ever been in a business partnership where somebody had a stake in your business and they weren't pulling their weight? Have you even ever, I think everyone's seen this in some way. You go to university and you're in a study group and some guy is slouching and expecting you to do his work. Whatever it is, how does that feel? And so I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they get to a certain point, the momentum carries them up, and then at a certain point, the roller coaster kind of starts to taper off. And they say, what's the point? I have a nice life. But as entrepreneurs, it's not just about how do I have a nice life. That's what people think it is. They think, they make enough money to buy a mansion and then retire. We don't want to retire. We want to continue to grow. And I think when you go overseas, you're able to do that because, all right, I'm contributing something. We just raised, I'm very proud of it, with one email and one video, we raised over $67,000 for kids in Armenia with special needs and with disabilities and living in orphanages. And that's a part of what I'm doing every year. And so if you pay a very low tax rate, maybe you contribute a little bit, you're still going to have a heck of a lot more money left over. And when you reinvest that, and you just feel better. You just feel like finally I have the weight of this useless business partner off my shoulders. Because by the way, you go to Hong Kong, you go to the UAE, you go to all these places, they have roads, they have schools, they have 99% literacy rates too. These are not places in a swamp, right? So somehow they're able to do it with a much, much, much lower tax rate, in some cases 0. And so they can function just as well as where you're coming from, where you're paying a lot more than 0. And so that mindset, I was just talking to a guy the other day, and he was going through so many mental gymnastics about making year-end tax deductions to get all of his spending in before the end of the year to get a tax deduction. I said, you know what? When I want to spend money, or when I don't want to spend money for business, I just spend it or I don't spend it because I'm not worried about the tax ramifications. I'm not paying 50 cents on the dollar or anywhere close. And so I'm able to, run a very organic business, compete effectively, support my family very effectively, make investments for the future. And when you look at $400,000 in my example every year for the next decade, invested until the rest of your life, we're talking about a dramatic change, tens of millions of dollars. There's a big impact. So those are the 3 reasons that I think people should look at going overseas if you're an entrepreneur, especially if your business isn't bolted to the ground somewhere. But even if it is, there still are opportunities. You're going to feel better. You're going to be free from people pointing the finger at you and seeing that in the news cycle every day. You're going to have more money to reinvest, take a competitive advantage, and ultimately have more money to support yourself, your family, and the things that you care about. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.